From Springtide Research Institute, this is 13 to 25, a podcast where we explore how young people ages 13 to 25 grow into identity, spirituality, and well-being. Through research and real conversations, we hear directly from youth and young adults, as well as the experts and practitioners who walk alongside them. We're here to share lived experiences, big questions, and hopeful insights into what it means to support emerging generations today. In the between of being and becoming, this is 13 to 25.
Hello, welcome to 13 to 25. We're so excited to continue our conversation all about organizational involvement because that's what Springtide's been studying throughout 2025. And we have more fantastic Springtide ambassadors sharing examples from their own life, different organizations or groups or clubs that have been particularly meaningful and impactful in their own lives. So I don't even know what's about to unfold. I know the two young women that are joining me today. They're incredible leaders in their own communities, and they bring so much to our Springtide Ambassadors Program, which we also call SAP. But the examples they're about to lift up, I'm along for the ride with our listeners today. I'm learning with you all and excited to hear what's going to come to life. So let's have our two guests introduce themselves.
Thank you so much. So my name's Roshini, and I'm from Charlotte, North Carolina, and I'm 16. And my kind of race or ethnic identity is I'm Indian and I'm also Hindu. And those are two very kind of foundational aspects of who I am. And a hobby that I've been really into recently is reading. So I've been reading a lot more. I used to read a lot as a kid, but I think I've been getting back into it now.
So cool. I'm also trying to be an extra dedicated reader. I'm signed up for my library summer reading program. Like my toddler signed up, and I'm also doing the adult version. But yeah, it's some things that I think come in and out of season. So I just commend you as a teenager that you're like, I want to get back to this, something I loved in my younger years. We're all in the East Coast today, I think. And we're all in the same time zone today. That's not always the case when we record these podcast conversations, but I'm in Baltimore. If you don't know me by now, my name is Marte Aboagye. I'm the head of engagement at Springtide. And Roshini, it's so great to have you here this morning. So let's get our other East Coast time zone person to introduce themselves as well.
So thank you so much. Hi, everyone. My name is Tara. I'm 24 years old, and I use she, her pronouns. And I'm coming from New Jersey. And one of my favorite hobbies is that I love playing instruments. So I've been like hobby stacking lately. So I've been playing piano, ocarina, harmonica, you name it. And I currently am a junior brand designer and a social media researcher.
So great to have you here, Tara. Just another delight in our Springtide Ambassadors Program, and all the musical interests you have. I don't think I knew about them, especially when you say piano and harmonica. Stevie Wonder is my favorite artist of all time, forever and ever. So I'm like, piano, harmonica, that's the first person I think of when I hear that combination. Are you a Stevie fan?
I love Stevie Wonder.
Good. That's the right answer. I hope that's I hope that's what you would say. I clearly have a bias, but it's so awesome to have both of you with us. We got Jersey, we got North Carolina, and Maryland here. So let's hear first just about your personality, because I think that sets the stage nicely to talk about how people are involved in different orgs, since we want all different types, introverts, extroverts, etc., to feel like they have a place, they have a community, they have a place of belonging. And different personalities relate to things in different ways and take on different roles in groups and communities. So how would your friends describe your personality, or how would you describe it in your own words, just in a few words?
I think my friends would say that I'm kind of ambiverted, so a bit of both in terms of being introverted or extroverted. But I feel like pretty talkative. And I think I'm a pretty like genuine person and a genuine friend. I always try to remember things that people have told me, and like I'll ask them about it again, because I feel like that's kind of my love language, like being heard and really being listened to. And I try to do the same for other people as well.
I love that. What a great answer.
And then similarly, I would say my friends, they definitely would say like I'm authentic, but they would also say like I'm like quiet and bubbly at the same time. So kind of like a mixture of both. And that I'm really like compassionate and also just like really supportive, because I feel like having that in a friendship and like being able to coordinate that within a friendship is like really what keeps it going and what keeps it really strong. So I would definitely say like those are like traits that they would describe me as.
Beautiful. I feel like there's some similarities between the two of your personalities and the way you feel like your friends even both see you as kind of being a mix of different types and might come out in different settings in different ways. And that you're, both just really caring individuals. I've seen that in the time that I've already known you both. And so it's wonderful to hear that your friends are reflecting those qualities back as well. I previewed a little bit at the beginning that we're going to be hearing all about organizations, groups that young people have found to be really meaningful, that have maybe stretched them in different ways, have opened up different opportunities, different insights about even who they are in the world. So I would love to hear what examples you both want to bring to life. Tara, would you share with us first? What's an organization that's had a really positive impact on your life?
So for me, I would say is this organization, it's called Black Girls Smile. And it's basically an organization that has the mission of helping young Black girls or young Black adults with improving their mental health and also obtaining like mental health awareness, and also basically being able to extend upon like their resources when it comes to mental health. So they're able to have different opportunities, different like educational opportunities in order to obtain like highlights when it comes to their mental health. So if they're struggling with mental health, there's like opportunities for them to be able to like learn about like, let's say for instance like suicide prevention, or let's say if they just wanted to learn about the general idea of what mental health is and why it's important for people of color, and also why it's like really important to take care of your mental health. So it's a great program, and I really do like love the like having like the opportunity to be a part of the program, because it's a great way for me to also help extend that mission too.
That's awesome. How did you first get involved with Black Girl Smile?
So I honestly like was just looking up like mental health resources like in my area, but then
Like Googling them.
Googling it, yeah. So like I was just like typing it in on my computer, and it just landed me with a whole long list of like links and different websites. And I was checking out this opportunity, and it was the opportunity to be a part of like the junior advisory board. And what I love about it is that when I applied for it, like I was excited to like, get accepted to it, because like it's a great opportunity to like not only be a part of like extending the mission, but also being able to like learn more about like why mental health is important to me as well. So it's kind of like a mixture of both. So being able to not only help myself, but being able to help like others who are in the same boat, and also being able to just be able to like promote it, and also to take part in activities and come up with different workshops and programs. So it's kind of similar to like Springtide, but it's like a different type of
sound
thing.
like some similarities in terms of like the youth, young person leadership role you get to have in helping shape the organization. So how long ago was that? How long have you been involved with Black Girl Smile?
So currently it's been 2 years, I want to say.
Awesome. Well, I mean, I've heard you mention it before today, even. I know it's an organization that has had a really big impact in your life. When you think about the role you've played in it in the last 2 years, do you feel like, it's become a part of you? It's become a part of your identity and how you even move through the world?
I would definitely say yes, because um like being part of the like program is like taught me so much about like, well, like yes, we're like young adults, because most of the girls who are also in the program, they're around like the same age as me. So like yes, we're like young adults, but I feel like it's taught us so much about like the stigma, and also about like the impacts of like taking care of our mental health. So being able to be a part of the program, it's made me kind of like sit and actually realize that like, wow, like being able to like take care of like my mental health is such a privilege. So being able to have that like opportunity to like not only learn the resources, but learn how to have access to it, and also learning how to help other people to have like access to it. So it's been like really, really like eye-opening for me, because there's been certain like directions and pathways to mental health that I didn't even know were out there until I joined the program. So it's been like really like eye-opening for me and a part of who I am. We have such this like deep sort of like root, like this deeply rooted sort of like thought and belief of like being like hyper independent, like for people of color. And I just feel like being able to erase that sort of stigma of like, okay, it's okay to like have this sense of community. It's okay to like have help. It's okay to like, be able to support others as well. So just being able to have this sort of like, positive sort of community and positive like sort of service around you. It's been like so eye opening for me. So I
It
would
sounds
definitely
like a
say,
really
yeah.
powerful reframe to feel like it's not just okay to have open conversations about mental health and okay to look for resources. It's something to be celebrated and honored. It sounds like something to really be championed. Black women looking out for each other, helping resource one another, and finding that sense of community, like you said, through that. Is it a virtual group? Are there in-person connections? Is it a combination?
So usually like most of the meetings, they are virtual meetings, but we do have opportunities where workshops will be held, and it's actually like in New York, or it can sometimes be in Atlanta, or if there's like any other like possible states, possibly New Jersey, but it's definitely in like the metro areas, and they are extending it to be more like national. So like hopefully sometime soon, or maybe within the next year, it will be like more national. So I do feel like having that sort of mixture of like both, like not only just like virtual, but just like in-person opportunities is a great way for people to connect in person and to also like connect virtually, of course. So it's a like beautiful
Absolutely.
integration.
Yeah. Yeah. And not always possible to just straddle both and utilize both, but it sounds like that organization's finding really key ways to lean into what virtual connections can allow, but also saying, hey, there's some meetups and some hubs that we should really pay attention to. And I think COVID gave us a bigger imagination of what online communities, connections can actually look like. And I think the in-person is so important, but I also think people shouldn't discount what virtual communities can look like and what they can do. Is there any favorite memory you would want to lift up from the 2 years you've been involved with Black Girl Smile?
But yes, there's like so many opportunities to be like part of like different committees. So they have various committees such as wellness committee, they have research committee, and also the events committee. So you're able to do things such as like preparing and hosting events, and also setting up events and tasks that they may have throughout the year, and also setting up different like events and workshops like for social media. So if you ever want to host like, let's say, a meditation or a yoga workshop, you're able to do that. And then also, as far as research, you do a whole bunch of like research surrounding the topics of mental health and wellness. So I do feel like specifically within the past 2 years, I worked on this zine. It was with like a small group, and it was like this digital magazine where we came up with mental health resources. It was like the integration of like almost everything. So it's kind of like what mental health is, why mental health is important, different types of like tips and resources, like different types of opportunities, like if people wanted to, improve their mental health. And also, I was like mainly responsible for like designing it, because I do have like that sort of design, like sort of side to me. It was like a 100-page sort of zine. So I was like able to
That's
design like
long.
each
Yeah.
page. Yeah.
That's awesome. So is it a digital zine? Did people end up printing it? Is it something that I could even check out sometime? Like how is it circulated?
So yeah, I actually do have the digital zine like on my computer now. So it's kind of like a zine booklet type of thing. So if I were to share it or even post it, people will be able to access it. And then it was used for like one of their events that they had in New York City last year. So it was called Safe Space Saturday, which was held in New York. And they were able to like use it and like print it out for them, or just have like a QR code for them where they can like scan it, and then they'll be able to save it like digitally. So if they ever want to go look back on it, they'll be able to sort of like reflect on it and also kind of read through it if they ever wanted to go back to it.
That is so cool. How gratifying to be able to curate what it looks like, the layout, the feel, the design, even just thinking about the white space, the colors, like all those little design intentions really make a difference in how people come away with the messages, or even just how they feel like they can settle into something really important with mental health. Like I'm sure just the conscious choices you made makes such a difference in how people consume that, and really fun too. You have so many different artistic sides to you that you can exercise them in that way for the good of others. Love learning about your organization. Could keep talking to you about it for a long time, honestly. But we also want to hear from Roshini. So let's hear what you have to share. Fill us in similarly like Tara did. Tell us how you got involved in this group, what keeps you coming, and any other details that have made your experience really valuable there.
Mm-hmm. So the organization that kind of immediately came to mind when I knew about this question was an organization called Hindu Swayamsevak Sangh, or HSS. And it's nationwide and even actually worldwide organization that's basically meant to bring people of this community together, to hold outreach events and also service events that are based on like Hindu values. And I've actually been involved in it. Like my family's been involved in it since I was just like a kid, so since I was like 1 or 2. So I don't even really remember like joining it. I just like always remember it being kind of a part of my life. So I used to live in Phoenix, Arizona. So we were really involved in it back then. I was a kid. Yeah. And then as soon as we knew that we were traveling to Charlotte, like when we kind of came here on, an airplane, literally like a couple of days later, we were invited to dinner for someone who was a part of the chapter here in Charlotte. So that's kind of the community that I've always felt, and it's been an important part of my life.
How old were you when you did move to Charlotte?
I was 8.
Okay, so yeah, you can definitely, I imagine, remember that meal even of being like, okay, we're going to have community. I mean, maybe you didn't call it community as an 8-year-old, but like, we're going to have something familiar here. We're going to have like people that share a lot of our same cultural traditions and religious observances. And we're okay. Like, just because I think moving anytime in a kid's life can be really disruptive and hard. And so 8 years old, I imagine you're leaving behind friends and just what was familiar to you in Arizona, and starting somewhere new is tough, period. And so in those younger years, I bet it provided just a lot of comfort and connection. Were there other kids your age at that time too?
Yeah. So there was a group of kids that I basically met in the organization when I was in 3rd grade. And like till today, that group's like some of my best friends. Even though, maybe we go to different schools or different colleges, we still like, I met them like a couple of days ago. So we've always been kind of there for each other, which is why this organization is so important to me.
That's awesome. So what are the different ways you've been able to grow in your involvement? So like from, elementary school up through middle school, now in high school, how has your role grown, or has it changed in different ways?
Yeah. So the way the organization kind of works is we have like weekly meetings as well. So that's usually like yoga, discussions, games, things like that. And then we also have like larger projects. So for example, for like Raksha Bandhan, which is a traditional in Hindu festival where you basically like tie these like bracelets to symbolize like friendship and like unity. So we'll go out to like a lot of first responders, like a hospital or firefighters, to kind of bring that community in. So we have events like that as well. So I think when I was a kid, I was just like a participant, obviously. So I went to these meetings, I went to these events, but especially in middle school, I was able to take a lot more like responsibility. So I would lead a discussion. I would take the yoga class. I would teach the games, things like that. And then now in high school, I have even more like formalized responsibility. I've been leading more like youth-based events, things like that.
That That is awesome, especially that you get to like lean into different maybe passions that you want to dip into what leadership would look like in those spaces and stretch yourself because yeah, a middle schooler even starting to lead things can be intimidating sometimes, but to feel like, no, my voice matters here. Like it sounds like people are trying to empower young people in the space and make sure that they have a clear presence and place there, that they get to exercise leadership qualities instead of just like the young people are an afterthought. It doesn't sound like it sounds like they're leading a lot of what's happening. Are there just specific youth programs and then sometimes they're all ages together? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes. So like when I was a kid, like I didn't even really know about these youth programs. But since there's been more people my age now who are very involved, we also have these like weekly meetings where it's just youth. And I feel like that sometimes adds a different layer because especially as like first generation, second generation immigrants, there can be kind of a difference. And meeting people who have these same values, but also are at the same age, I feel like is so important for people to be empowered to keep in touch with their culture.
Absolutely. And like you said before, that you might not be at the same school, you might not, I imagine, live in the same neighborhoods. So it's like, okay, we're in so much of your lives, you might feel like I don't have the same power in numbers or just amount of people who understand some of the traditions that I'm celebrating throughout the year and just shared cultural identity. But when you can come together across different schools, across different parts of Charlotte and beyond, that you're like, hey, we really have something we can lean back into collectively together. That's what celebrating and honoring all of our cultural traditions are all about, to feel like there's other people that you're connected to and who understand you, sometimes without even having to explain yourself, right? Like you're not having to define everything maybe that you are in other contexts, that people are like, yeah, we do the same in my house and now we get to do it together here. So, is there a favorite memory you have? It's probably hard to pick because you've been involved for so long, but if you could draw one out that stands out, yeah, give us the details, paint the scene for us.
So I guess one that comes to mind is we also have like these kind of leadership retreats for like youth in different parts of the country. So I went to one, I think last like winter break, and that was a really interesting experience because I was able to meet people who kind of like me have been involved in this organization for a long time, but they were from Atlanta, they were from Dallas, so like across the country.
Yeah.
So meeting with them and literally in just a week, like really becoming like friends with them, sharing our experiences. And to me, like having this community connect, it's not about like, I guess, falling too much back into just your community and like isolating yourself.
Sure.
It's about empowering yourself to speak about your culture to people who don't know about it. And I feel like when I came out of it, like I was so like inspired. I heard about a lot of people like starting a Hindu club in their school, and that actually motivated me to do it. So that was why it was so important.
Oh, wow. That's awesome, Roshini. What stands out to me from both of the examples you've both shared is how much it's about young people leading, how much of it's about young people being like given the opportunity to really share their experience, share their voice, share their outlook to benefit others, to shape and sharpen other communities. I think I've heard that beyond today's conversation. That almost makes me think that there's something really to pay attention to about organizational involvement, where young people feel like they're not just attending, but that they're given a voice, a platform to help speak into the work and whatever the organization's doing, whether it's a team or a musical group or these leadership opportunities that you're both speaking about that are, specific to each of your own identities and respective communities. I think there's something that adults should just really take note with there, that young people want places that they can contribute to, that they feel like that, yes, they're receiving a lot from, no doubt, but that they're also helping create the container and the dynamic itself. I hear, without even knowing what the two of you are going to share, I hear that so much in both of the examples you've brought, how you've found these places of community and connection that have been so essential to your own flourishing, but that you're also getting to make it what it is. It's not just handed to you. You're creating something. You're co-creators in this project itself, in these organizations. I am wondering if you could speak a little bit, both of you, about your own spiritual connections. I mean, Roshini, we've already heard that from you, so maybe I'll have you go first. But you've already shared you're practicing Hindu. This is so central to who you are in the world. It seems kind of obvious. Well, of course it impacts your Hindu life. It's a Hindu organization. But could you give us like a key way that happens? So I'm not just making assumptions about what seems obvious, that instead, like, here's how it feeds into my own sense of spirituality, or here's how it's provided a sense of meaning or purpose, or however you want to define that for yourself.
Mhm. So like a couple ways. So like the first, I guess the obvious one, like as the Hindu organization, I think it just taught me more about the culture and about the religion. But what's I guess kind of different about Hinduism is it's not just like there's not just one book, there's not just one set of rules that everyone follows. And because I'm in this organization, there's different people who have different traditions at home, different ways of looking at it, different values. So when we're having these discussions, I feel like it helps me like understand my own spirituality and answer my own questions a lot more in a more nuanced way. So I feel like that's kind of the biggest impact it had.
Oh, we love that. We love nuance, that even, as a high school student, that you're like, okay, this is my experience, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's everyone's, even when we share a lot of common backgrounds and traditions.
Exactly.
Yeah. So just to approach your understanding of your own faith life, your own spirituality, in light of others, and honoring their particularities alongside your own that's like sometimes people's life work, within whatever their religious tradition is. So the fact that you're already seeing that and recognizing that, I think is really, really cool as a teenager. Tara, what about you? Does your work with Black Girls Smile, does it feed into any sense of how you look at your own spiritual connection in the world?
So yeah, I would definitely say like for sure, because like just being able to not only perform the work of like helping others to learn more about mental health, but also helping to educate them. I just feel like more on a personal level, it does make me kind of like connect more with what I think my actual purpose is in like the world. So like just having that sort of deep reflection, and also being able to kind of like just not only be able to help again like other people, but to also like help myself and help those that I connect to, even if I don't know them on a deeper level. So I feel like energetically it just does something like to me. So like on a more positive note, it just kind of like connects me more with people. It helps me to kind of like strengthen our bonds, even if it's like I haven't met them until like, let's say like an hour ago, or like 2 days ago, or if it's been like a month ago. It doesn't matter like how long ago. It just feels like it's automatically like a stronger bond because of like what the mission is, and also being able to help promote that in the world, and also finding more like-minded connections. So just being able to have that on a more deeper note, it just kind of like makes me feel a lot more spiritually inclined with myself and with the world in general.
I love that. Yeah, just really providing that clear sense of purpose, that you're centered on a shared mission with others, and building out that sense of connection, like you said, that it's not even always like years that go into that connection. It can be already that you're rallying behind the same shared mission. And that already provides such an avenue for community building. So yeah, it's clear to me, and which isn't necessary, but it's clear to me for both of you that it does feed something about your sense of meaning in the world, your work in both of these organizations. Do you have a recommendation? It could be about your specific group you've shared, or you can think about it really broadly, but is there something you wish organizations knew or were more thoughtful about when it comes to connecting with and involving young people? Any tips you have to share we'd love to hear them.
Not really specifically within Black Girls Smile, but just organizations in general. I would just say just making sure to like educate young people on like different areas of their lives. So it can be like physically, mentally, in terms of like their wellness, emotionally, spiritually, being able to help educate them to understand what each part of their lives like consists of and how they feel like they can be in more touch, like not only with themselves, but with other people. Because I feel like that also helps to like, get someone to understand what their mission is and understand what their purpose is and understand like, what they're driven to do. So I feel like that also helps to kind of like connect all the dots with that sort of process. So I do feel that just being able to like just educate people, because I feel like education is like power. So just being able to like help them understand, help them to build that sort of foundation of knowledge, it really does help them to kind of like have a better overall sense of understanding for what they're meant to do and to also help understand other people too. So it's kind of like a mixture of both.
Yeah, I'm hearing from you like leaders have an opportunity to provide an understanding that you are a whole person. So even if you're like doing a sport, how can this connect to your mental health? How can this connect to the relationships and community needs, social needs that, yes, I'm just using a sport as an example, but yes, there's a clear physical aspect. There's a mental aspect that goes with sports, but like, how can that tie into who you are within the team and what this can bring home to your whole flourishing life? It could be anything, but just for adult leaders to understand whatever their context is that you have an opportunity to really provide a solid understanding through conversations, through your activities, through looking out for each young person that is in your care, that it's not just the activity. It's about like their whole growth, their whole education, like you said, of just becoming more of who they are in the world and seeing young people really thrive. So I think the adults who listen to this kind of podcast want that. Like if they're going to tune in to listen to other young people talk about their own experiences, they're wanting to provide those kind of spaces and environments to young people. So I think everything you're sharing, even beyond that recommendation, has to hit home for different org leaders. Roshini, what would you want organizations to be more thoughtful about in connecting and involving youth and young adults?
I completely agree with what you said about kind of the educational aspect and really seeing people as a whole. But something else that kind of came to mind is giving young people like leadership and a say in the discussions. So like for my organization specifically, I think involving more young people has helped us, especially with outreach, with new ideas. So we've done like different like food drives, road cleanups, but we've kind of added on to that on more opportunities, more service events. So I think young people obviously maybe have less experience, but that doesn't mean that their ideas are necessarily less worthy. And I think in many cases, they're able to bring a fresh perspective that's always useful for any organization.
Yeah. I mean, it's so clear that that's what's made the experiences rich and valuable for you both, is that people took your ideas really seriously and your input and your leadership in behind the scenes ways, in outward facing ways, both having such clear value, but that it's like, young people are here and we need their input. Like the organizations are stronger because of their input. It's not just like, we'll do this to make young people feel good. No, like the organizations you've both described are places you're proud to be a part of because your voices are so valued, and that you have those leadership opportunities. So yeah, more of that, and in all different forms of leadership, right? That sometimes it might look like designing, sometimes it might look like leading a conversation, and everything in between, but that there's so many avenues you can provide to young people to make sure they feel like this is their community, this is their group, and their input is essential. Well, anything else you both want to share? You've already given us so much good stuff, but is there anything else from either of your examples or just our conversation as a whole that you wanted to make sure got into the mix today.
A really core value in my culture is this idea of like Vasudeva Kutumbakam, like the whole world is one family. And I feel like from really discussing our different organizations and my experience with Springtide as well, I feel like these organizations really embody what that means. And it's really about bringing people together. So I've really enjoyed this conversation.
Beautifully put. Love that tie-in. Thank you, Roshini.
So I would definitely say like just with the whole entire like conversation, it's just a great way to like just learn from each other too. So just being able to like not only connect with each other and hear about each other's experiences, but to also learn to see like, well, like given that like for instance with Roshini's organization, how you guys like sort of integrate a lot of like different activities for youth and leadership. So I feel like being able to kind of like sort of reflect and be like, well, like maybe like other organizations that I become a part of can maybe like do the same thing. So being able to kind of like guess like offer like subtle recommendations or as kind of like look for subtle like key features and like organizations that like look for. So yeah.
Yeah, just to learn from each other. It doesn't mean we like always copy everything down to the, you know, the last same model, but that we're like, hey, I see this element really working here, and that might be specific to a particular context, but maybe an aspect of it could really work here. And just that idea sharing to strengthen everyone's organizations and everyone's work with young people is so meaningful to me, that I could even provide like a space where people can get different ideas and best practices to apply to their own context. That's the goal. That's the hope. So you named it exactly. Well, this has been a delight, as you both always are. But thank you, Tara, for sharing about Black Girl Smile. Thank you, Roshini, for sharing about HSS. It sounds like there's chapters that are growing for both of yours. Like both of these organizations are even growing. So, you know, besides your own work, if this is something you're listening to the podcast and you're wanting to get involved, I imagine there are ways for you to plug in your own cities or areas or see how you can be part of the growth that's happening. Thank you for sharing your stories. Thank you for all you do with Springtide, and everyone else, stay tuned because we have another great conversation coming at you with 2 other Springtide ambassadors sharing their own experiences.
Visit springtideresearch.org to learn more about our research and resources, centering the perspectives and experiences of young people ages 13 to 25. As a nonpartisan, nonprofit organization, Springtide Research Institute is committed to listening to young people and sharing accessible social scientific research along with actionable insights. Visit our website to find ways to support our work and discover ways that we can support yours. You can find and follow us on social media at We Are Springtide. If you're enjoying 13 to 25, we invite you to rate, review, and share the podcast with a friend. And we'd love to share a conversation with you. Send your questions or comments to info@springtideresearch.org. Today's show was produced by Marte Aboagye. Audio mixing by Andy Palmer. Opening and closing by Amy Chow. And original music by Christian Unthank, who was 14 when he produced this track. Special thanks to the guests featured in today's conversation and all the young people between 13 to 25 whose insights and perspectives make our research possible. Thanks for listening and for supporting the teens and 20-somethings in your own life.